Get ready for Real Talk with Pasha B in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, thanks for tuning into this week's episode of Real Talk with Pasha B. This is no other than Pasha B, and we have some very special guest that's going to be with us today to talk about a very intriguing episode. Sheneka, how are you doing today, sweetie?
I'm well, Pasha. How are you? I missed
Say that
you.
one more time, please.
I'm well, Pasha. How are you?
Sheneka.
Yes, darling.
Come on, shift that over, that microphone. You know what to
I'm
do
not
with that
doing it
thing.
right.
Yeah, come on.
I'm not,
Come on. In the face.
Like this?
Yes.
Is that better?
It is.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm well. I'm a little under the weather,
You
so
are. So I'm going to turn your levels up for you because you're a little bit under the weather.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope I sound sexy. Do I sound sexy?
Nah, you sound mayonnaise.
That's sexy. Do I sound sexy? Do I sound sexy?
I'm a lady.
I'm a lady.
We have two phenomenal artists, local artists in Atlanta today to talk to us and to talk with you guys about the topic, why are people getting married? Why are they not getting married? What reason?
Let's just talk about love and marriage.
Love and marriage. We have Journee.
Hi.
The beautiful, the awesome.
The beautiful, the awesome Journee.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And we also have a familiar voice.
How y'all doing? This Milk.
That is Milk.
What's up, Milk?
That is Milk. So, as Sheneka said, we're going to be talking about love, marriage, relationship, all that encompasses that, would you say?
Everything.
Everything. So, Sheneka, do you want to start us off?
Actually, I don't. No, but I will. So one of the primary topics, one of the primary things we want to kind of touch on is the why people get married. The why.
So people get married now.
Well, a few people are getting married. Based on statistics, the marriage rate has been declining since the 80s. Then it kind of, I don't want to say leveled off, but it's still been declining. And they touch on some of the reasons behind it. However, in doing the research, it varies based on culture. So, given the demographics of this group, we're going to speak about Black folks.
So, let me say this. Nika came in here one day with some goddamn skin hunger stuff. I don't trust her statistics sometimes.
So, let's remind people about skin hunger. So, Milk Journey. So, this is what Psychology Today. They coined the term skin hunger, and in defining skin hunger, what they said was people are so detached because we're so into our phones, we're so into internet, social media, we don't connect with people on a very physical level, like in their presence. So there are people who are starved for just basic touch. Mm-hmm. They don't get basic touch. Mm-hmm. And because we live in a transient society, especially Atlanta, a lot of people don't have family members. They don't have close friends. So they don't get hugs. They don't get just closeness from people because they're always in their phone, always on social media, always behind a screen. So because people are starved, Pasha, fix your face. Because they're so starved for touch, that makes them more receptive to accepting any and everybody in their presence, which makes for some of the bad relationships and encounters that people have. Now that made sense to me. Pasha wasn't feeling me. Looking at Journey face, she ain't feeling it either. Somebody get on this, get with me. Milk, are you with me? What, Journey? No, don't be on Team Passion. Right? No Team Passion.
I get it. I get it to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. But we have choices in life. Mm-hmm. So you can choose to put your phone down. Mm-hmm. A friend of mine calls it, we live in a society of microwave love. Mm-hmm. Everything is quick. Right? Mm-hmm. So there is nothing that is teaching this new generation how to actually invest. Not just in someone else, but even investing in yourself. Because you have to invest in yourself before you can actually see the possibility of investing into someone else. So it's definitely, it's a generational thing. It's some values that are missing as we raise our children. And there's some values that us people, because I'm a little older,
So I was going to say that. So I understand that as it relates to the generations that's coming up now, but I think all of us, I'll just say 30 up.
Me?
Yeah. Oh, we're 40 or no. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you do. I had to ask that question. So how do you explain those individuals who are older, 30 and up and 40 and up, who are pretty much mimicking the same behaviors?
It's easy. It's absolutely easy. When you're divorced and you're coming from a relationship, a bad relationship, obviously the relationship didn't work out, and now you're out here and you're trying to quote unquote sow your wild oats. It's easy. You don't have to commit to anybody. It's not necessary for you to commit to anybody because there are so many who are willing to accept your situation exactly the way that it is.
Because they have skin hunger.
Shut up. It's not about Oh, they're hungry, all right.
Or skin. But not the kind of skin
but not the kind you're talking about.
Right.
I'll let it go.
But love, marriage, relationship, yada, yada, yada. So, Journey, you mentioned something very important. You said, are people getting married? And Sheneka was starting with some statistics. And she said it's in regards to, you said, race? What was the?
Well, once you start breaking down according to race, then there's a bigger divide. So since the 80s, overall, marriage has been declining. Okay. So just in general, marriage has been declining for everybody.
Gotcha.
Since the 1980s. However, when you start talking about Black folks, because that's a demographic of us in here, there's a bigger gap.
Okay.
So the question is, why is that? So before we get into the statistics, why do you think, Milk, that Black folks aren't getting married?
I believe it's a combination of things. One, I believe, since you said the 80s, I think about crack. I think about, Black men getting locked up. I think about Black men selling drugs. I think about Black women getting high. Those combination of things, including when you think about just being shipped off to the war back then, around those times. And I think it's a combination of things that happen. It's not just one thing. And then you think about how Section 8 was pushed harder, and you couldn't have your man inside the house. He had to leave and take his clothes. And where would he go? He would more than likely go to the side chick house. The side chick lived right down the street from where she lived, but she know about her and she know about her, so it's approved. And that rolls into something completely where we at now to this day. It's still accepted somewhat.
And I think it was before we actually hit the record button, Journey was mentioning how easy it is to not commit. How easy it is. Like, it's, I don't know if marriage has lost its value. I can't say that. I can just say that it's becoming easier not to have marriage be, and I hate to say marriage be the goal, because marriage is not the ultimate goal, but to be on your list of things that you possibly want to do in your lifetime, it's easier for marriage not to be one of them.
But
it's easy. The reason being is that when you don't set standards for yourself, when you don't have requirements for a man to step up, for a man to give you exactly what it is that you truly, truly desire. And that's one thing too, is that women aren't honest. We're not honest with ourselves. So there's no requirement to be honest with the person that we're sleeping with or the person that we're seeing. He's not requiring it because he's getting exactly what he needs from you. He doesn't have to commit. Right? He sees you when he wants to see you, right? He spends money on you if he chooses to, and you're okay with that. So if he takes you, put a full tank of gas in your car, you're ecstatic, right? You're getting little bits from him, and he's okay giving you that little bit because you're not asking for anything else because you're so afraid that you're going to be alone. And I think the fear of that it will keep a woman in a situation that she truly, truly doesn't want, to be in. You have to get to that point where you're like, you know what? Even if I have to spend the rest of my days alone, I'd rather do that than settle for what I don't want.
But do you think they settle, and do you think they think I can change them?
Of course, that's always that.
Yeah.
That's always it. The ignorance of I can change a man. You can't change a man. Absolutely not possible. He can decide that he wants to make some changes because of you, but you have no power whatsoever to say, okay, if he doesn't, do certain things, I'm going to change him.
I have a question to ask, and I don't. Sometimes we want to compartmentalize things and make things black and white, but it's not. But do you think women play a larger role in the fact of allowing a man or men to not step up and do the things that I'm going to say, not that's required, but to have to step up and do more than the gas to tank and things of this nature? Are men slacking on their or in their dating roles, relationship roles because of women?
I think the onus is 50-50, honestly. You can only control you. So at the end of the day, even if that woman decides that she's going to, hey, look, I need for you to do more. This is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm needing from you. It's still a choice on his behalf to say, yes, I'm ready to make that step with you. So if he chooses to not do that, then that's his choice. But even if the choice is not satisfactory to you, you still have a decision to make.
I think that if you're a certain type of woman, a man know he can't approach you a certain type of way. He just know, like a real man know, like I can't even come at a certain way with her because she at a level.
That was true.
Oh,
because I get approached by some ignorance.
No.
On a daily basis.
Let me say this: they gotta shoot their shot. But I'm talking about once they start talking, they know they can gauge. Like, all right, she ain't with the bullshit. You'll know unless you dumb.
Okay.
There's a lot of dumb people out there, guys.
Yeah.
Like what I'm saying to you is like this.
I get what you're saying.
It's dudes going.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be vulgar. It's dudes going to send you dick pics. It's dudes going to say, "What you doing when you up?" It's dudes going to say, "Can you come over?" I think as long
Milk,
as
what do those mean?
What, dick pics?
No.
What?
All of those.
Okay.
She knows.
You don't know.
So all of those things, the texts, are you up?
Yeah.
The dick pics.
Yeah.
I know those are definitely shots being taken.
Yeah.
But are there ever any other intentions but the blatant red flags?
I think to see where you at, because the thing is, go back to what Journey said earlier. It's easy. So if I'm hollering at you, you easy. I'm hollering at Sheneka, she easy, and I holler at you, I'm gonna think you just like them.
Absolutely.
And
Exactly.
but it also flip back on men. If you dealing with a man and he playing games, you dealing with a man he playing games, you think all men play games. So we kind of play tricks on each other to the point where as though we think we're looking for this and we think we're looking for that, but really, I'm talking about at the core, I think all of us really want love. We might not think it. Like when I was dripping and running, I just thought I wanted skin. But when love comes and hits you in your face, you're like, all right, let me settle down and focus.
Right.
I believe that. I believe that men want love. I do.
I think so as well.
I don't think they know how to articulate it. I don't think they know how to ask for it all the time. But men have feelings and emotions just like we do, and their feelings get hurt. Women play a lot of games. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about that being honest with yourself. You cannot expect to approach a situation in deceit and it's going to yield something positive from it. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
The scales aren't balanced. So you have to make a decision. Am I in it just to get what I need from the situation? He's going to be a cut buddy. He's going to be whatever it is. Or do I truly, truly want more?
Gotcha. Sheneka?
I have a question. So my question is, given that a great number of our children grow up in a single parent household or have grown up in a single parent household, because I think we talk about the divorce rate also started increasing in the 80s as well. It has continued to increase. Do you think that men, and I'm going to specifically speak of men who have grown up in a household where there wasn't a male figure consistently there, or not there at all, do you think that they know how to come into a relationship and assume that responsibility of being the husband, being the man? And Milk is shaking his head no. So how does that translate into the dating scene now? Because right now we're dating those men who grew up in those households where there might not have been a father there because, the high incarceration rate, or, hey, it was, a situation that ended up in mother being pregnant, but the father didn't stick around. So how does that translate into the dating scene now?
I'm going to connect this and what Journey said earlier. The thing is this. Like me, myself, I was raised in a single, my mother was a single mother. I seen my mother do all type of shit on her own. Mm-hmm. And when you see your mother be Superman and you date a woman and all you think in your mind, like, shit, I see my mother do it all. You know what I'm saying? So when you putting gas in her car and you doing the most simplest things, is in your mind, you are trained to think she can do it all. Mm-hmm. You are trained to think she can do it all because you seen your mother do it all. But when you sit back and you start talking to your homegirls as friends and they start talking about their relationships with their friends, you got to check yourself like, yo, I do some of that stuff that she tell me about her husband. I need to check myself. You understand what I'm saying? And that's when you start looking at your wife or your girlfriend and say, baby, is there anything you need me to do? Mm-hmm. Is there anything I do to make your day easier? There's nothing wrong with saying, is there anything you need me to do to make your day easier? And me, myself, as a grown man, I'll tell you, when I've been my wife since I was almost in my 20s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it's like, I have let my wife do a lot. Mm-hmm. Because I've seen my mother do a lot. And you have to come to a point where as though you say, you know what? She ain't have to do it all. Mm-hmm. Let me help you out. What you need help with? You need me wash some clothes? You need me fold some clothes? You need me wash the dishes? You want me to cook dinner? I'm not going to cook as good as you, but you need to be able to carry the burden with her opposed to... So, yeah, I think that us seeing that thing grow up. And here's the other thing. I feel like I'm a pretty advanced thinker. If I didn't understand these things and I had to self-analyze and talk to my homegirls, and when I'm saying talk to them, they telling me about their man. Mm-hmm. And I'm listening to this, I'm like, that's me. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. If I had to take a long time to figure out, I know some men will never figure it out.
Damn. So everybody's not making it on the island.
Yeah, and let me say one more thing. Going back to
they don't even have a boat to cross the water to get to the island.
It's all right.
And the thing is like, it's not like she complained enough. Like she did it. Mm-hmm. But here's a flip thing. She might have did it because she seen her mother do it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You understand? And the thing is, it's like, if she just taking, let's say like, if she's taking it and she's suffering in silence, I'm doing my own thing and I'm thinking she got it, she can wind up. If I didn't figure this out by talking to my friends from getting it, it's a possibility we might not be together because she's suffering in silence. I don't know she's suffering. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking she got it. She don't got it. She's probably doing this, doing that, and doing everything. And she crumbled. Mm-hmm. And I'm out here talking about, I'm telling the truth. I'm out here again, baby. Right different
and those are the kind of the discussions that you need to have when you are actually dating someone and it's starting to progress. I was married for 20 years. Okay, so he kind of came from, white picket fence, 2.5 kids, mother and father were in the household. Mm-hmm. Father worked, mother didn't. So here I come, single mother, right? Raised by a mom, doing everything. This is my example. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is what women are supposed to do. Mm-hmm. They're supposed to do every single thing because there's nobody else there to do it. So once I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? He should be helping. Mm-hmm. He should be assisting. Hey, I got to work. Mm-hmm. I have to drive in traffic. I have to do all these things. I have to raise the kids. I have to do everything. And she did it all, but she wasn't working. And she wasn't contributing to the household in a financial way. So we came from two different backgrounds, and it caused so many issues because my expectation, once I got older and realized what it is I needed in the relationship, my expectation he was never able to meet because it didn't compute. Right? We came from two different backgrounds, and I had to get to the point where, you know what, this is not working for me. I don't want to do it all. I'm tired. I'm more tired than you. I need a helper. I need a mate. And if I have to do it all by myself, then damn it, I might as well do it by myself.
All right.
Hey.
All right. So there is a coined phrase that I have. It's called EIC. And we're not talking about taxes, right?
Okay.
So the E stands for expectations. The I stands for the intentions or your intentions. And the C is to communicate. And I believe that any relationship, whether it be personal or professional, anytime a relationship is a relationship, business relationship, friendship, things of that nature. Those three elements, if you want to have a successful relationship, have to be involved. You have to, first thing you need to know is, what are your intentions with whomever you're having dealings with?
Correct.
Okay, so if your intention is not to be in a relationship with this person, if your intention is not a long-term thing, state it, communicate it. The expectation also, Journey, you mentioned in the beginning, you saw or you were raised in a lifestyle where you did everything. So he didn't know, and you know what? You didn't know that as time went on, your expectations would change, and he wasn't able to gauge that.
Exactly.
So the relationship did come to an end. But however, whatever your expectation is at that moment, whatever it is, state it up front. Because one thing someone can never do is call you a liar. They can call you a whole bunch of other things. But if you tell somebody, look, I just like you and I want to do they can say no. But if they say yes and they continue to act like it's something more than what it is, I told you what I wanted. You just didn't hear what I said. You wanted to perceive whatever it was. On the flip side for that, I'll also say, even though if you say something to somebody, act in the manner. So do not tell someone, I don't want no relationship. But you in that person's bed every night. You have standard weekend dates. You're introducing them to your family. You going on vacation together. Check yourself.
I totally agree.
Totally
agree.
I would say make sure that's what you want to.
And make sure you're being honest with what you want.
Because you might think you want that. You might start dating, and next thing you know, you want something different. And now that person is in a zone where you told them initially. Absolutely.
And I think that's the critical part of the communication. You need to be constantly communicating and being honest with whatever that is. And honest doesn't mean hurting people's feelings all the time. Honest just means figuring out the way to relay that information so that everybody's on the same page.
I just actually told a guy friend of mine that you cannot say you don't want a relationship and then treat her as a girlfriend. The two just will not, they're not going to gel, because she's going to pay attention to exactly what you're doing. Now, she may have heard what you said, but you're still giving her girlfriend status. Absolutely. So therefore, she's like, you know what? He's just scared. He's just scared. I can change him.
There we have the I can change him.
And, a little bit more time, and we will get there. And I do so much poetry about women taking responsibility for themselves in these types of scenarios, because you have to honestly hear exactly what he is saying to you. He may be doing all these things, but it does not mean that he's not doing those things with somebody else.
Sheneka mentioned something before about this whole open relationship thing.
Oh, so there appears to be an increase of the amount of open relationship or open marriages that people have. I don't have the exact stats on that, but it's increasing to the point where, like, I know people. It's like, really? Like, I know people who are in open relationships and open marriages. And we'll just extend it to include swingers and things of that nature. Yeah. So do you think that this is done in order to, again, keep this person around? So if your husband or wife is into this and they present it to you, do you think that people are buying into it just to keep their husband or just to keep their wife? Or do you think it's truly a transition of how marriage is being perceived?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, in today's society, marriage is definitely has been open to
It's a hybrid.
Right, exactly. I think people define open relationships differently, because there are open relationships where there is not any type of sexual activity with other people. However, there's that mental and emotional connection. So people define it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's greed. A lot. It's just greed. You want more. You don't want to let this go. So you guys make a decision. Now, it's your decision, especially if the two of you are on the same page. It's something that has to be thought out. It's something that has to be agreed on as far as the terms are concerned.
Because there are rules, apparently.
There are rules. And you know what? And the rules are contingent on who is actually in the relationship, because what may be comfortable for some one person may not be comfortable for another. Right. However, as for me and my household, I don't want to share. I'm stingy like that. At the end of the day, I'm an old school girl, and it's just certain things that I feel are sacred. I would still get married, even after being divorced. I love, and I think the union is beautiful, and it just shouldn't be defiled in that way. It makes a mockery of it when you decide that, you know what, I'm going to marry not just one person, but a lot of people. Even if it's not in the physical state, even if you're marrying somebody, in a mental state. I don't feel like you can truly give 150% to one person if you're completely divided.
No. Oh, are we?
What's that laugh?
Huh? No, I'm just thinking about what she said. I feel like this. I feel like it's truthfully, some people just freaky. Man and woman.
Wait.
So that's more than freaky.
What I'm saying is like this. Like, let's say I'm used to ripping and running. We get together, we love each other, but we still want to rip and run. And we come with that pack.
Need some variety.
I'm not saying it like you said. It ain't for me.
The PSA says it's not for milk.
But some people, that's what they into. And it go back to what you said earlier. What's normal? What my normal is and what your normal is, it's two different things. The way I was raised, the way you was raised, two different ways. So I think that this is the one thing I pose this question. I think about stuff like this. What would we do as Black men and women if everybody was married? No, and nobody cheated.
Oh.
You know who'll be out? Women. Y'all be out. Y'all already out now, but it'd be way worse than what it is. Because you gotta think, y'all outnumber us. If y'all still mess with your own kind.
So there's no difference. There's no difference then.
You traitor. Time to leave you.
It has not gotten that bad yet, trust me. It just hasn't.
So hypothetically, and I know, Milk, you are very committed to your wife. Like you said, you've been married for
almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years. I was going to say that. If there was a situation where I don't want to say
say whatever you want to say. You know me.
If you were to get divorced, and would you remarry?
No, I wouldn't.
Jesus.
I wouldn't. Because the thing is like,
Jesus.
Let me tell you why I say I wouldn't. Because the thing is like, I love my wife. And if this not real, I can't really trust nobody else. This might sound messed up. If this, what I've been doing, what we've been doing this long,
I love it.
if this not real, I don't know if I could trust anybody else.
That's honest.
My ex-husband said he would never do it again.
I'll never get married.
Yeah,
I ain't never get married
Never.
again. And here's the other thing. I'm not ripping and running either. I'm not. I really focus on this poetry. I mean, when I say I can't do exactly what I want to do is in my head. But if I ain't no family, I'll be like Booty Black, baby. I'll be like Booty. I'll be everywhere.
Hilarious.
Yes, I wouldn't get married again. I wouldn't rip and run either. I'm scared. I don't want to die.
Okay. He said he didn't want to die.
No,
and no,
even
it's
if you're
real.
going scrap.
Oh, that's real.
Even if you're going scrap,
that's real.
You know, you can pop.
Right.
Life can change on you.
You're right. You're right.
I'm scared. I mean,
Milk's scared.
I'm not invincible like I was when I was younger. Let's to what we talk about.
Got test?
Real. Had a test right on deck. That was a 15-minute test. Even if I'm going scrap, take the test.
So, Journey, you mentioned that your ex-husband said that he would not remarry. Is there
trust? Yeah,
the trust
thing.
Okay.
Yeah. He said, he wouldn't open himself
up to
to try to trust somebody again and go through that process. Because, for some men, it's a process to actually say, you know what, I'm going to give myself 110% to this woman. Like, I love this woman. This is why Sheneka was like, oh, that's so beautiful for what Milk said, because you don't hear that often. You don't, unfortunately.
You don't. You're right.
I wish I could.
Because there are a lot more men, I believe, who's going into the next relationship right after.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe that's the whole, I think trust, fear, all of those emotions are somewhat intertwined. And would anybody say that that's a possibility why people jump from one relationship to the next? Because they don't want to expose themselves that long enough to an emotion that does not feel good.
I totally agree. Totally agree.
Okay.
Go ahead, girl. You
Broken
sound like
hearts.
you got
That's
some
tough, man.
initials after your name.
I'm just saying.
And I want
the couch is open.
And I do want to say, just based off what you've just said, one of the things I've heard a few guys mention about not getting married because they have everything to lose. So that was something I hadn't considered.
Break that down.
So guys are not getting married, nor procreating, because there are some who don't have children, because they feel like if they get divorced, they're the ones who lose in court. They are the ones who have to end up paying alimony. They're the ones who have to end up paying child support, that they're losing so much and it's not worth the risk of getting married, knowing that that's a potential that they could lose everything that they felt like they built. Have any of you heard that?
I haven't heard that. I know people who are in that situation. I mean, let's face it, the courts don't always look in the favor of men. They don't see them as viable options to raise their children effectively. It's sad, it's unfair, but do you completely deny yourself of the joy of having that relationship and having those children and having whatever your quintessential dream is because you are afraid of it, or you step out on faith?
I think some of these women need to be more honest with themselves as well and stop getting into relationships for the wrong reasons, because that's when you have the mentality like, she's going to take all my money, or it's going to be one of those things. The court system is definitely not set up for men at all to win on any kind of level, except when you have a lot of money and your skin is a certain color.
That part.
But for our society, our community, Black men, child support or the family court, I guess that's the correct terminology for it, is against them 100%. And family court would also encompass the whole divorce and things of that nature. It should be the person who's better equipped, especially when children are involved, the person that's better equipped to take care of the kids. Because there's some trifling ass women out there.
Most definitely.
I keep hearing more and more and more, and I don't know if this is happening more, we're just hearing it more because of the media, that I just read something yesterday. A mother and father, Caucasian, young couple, left their 4-month-old in a swing for at least a week because they said that because of the maggots and the development of the maggots on the body, the child hadn't been changed in a week, hadn't had a bath in a week, was 7 pounds. I said the child was 4 months. 7 pounds. The child was dead. Okay? So you have a mother that's a part of this equation. She ain't no better. And where you think mothers are nurturing and all of that stuff, no, it's some scandalous, nasty ass women out there. So, PSA, if you lay down with one of these scandalous, nasty ass women, then do not expect for the separation process or for the whole process of raising a child with this person to be easy. You get what you asked for. Okay? Because people just don't get ugly and nasty and scandalous when you get in a relationship. Oh, no.
Sometimes when it's over, I always say you don't know a person unless you, 1, live with them, 2, have a kid about them, 3, don't mess with them no more.
I will say this. Crazy it doesn't take long for crazy to come out. Okay? 6 months, tops. Crazy comes out.
Sometimes you can do something to make her go crazy. You can do some wild, crazy. It's some cruddy dudes out here.
And you're absolutely right. So that is where you have to be responsible for your own interaction in it all. I was watching again something on social media. Like the joke is, don't do something to a woman, and then when she has the crazy reaction, and you start calling her crazy. No, you did something to make her ass crazy. So just be pure about what your intentions are. But I'm going to 9 times out of 10. People show their true colors of who they are if you sit back and you pay attention. So if this person had personality traits that would not have made them the best person to partner with, and you have kids, that's all I'm going to say. And that's the opposite. I mean, that goes the same for men. So if you have a man who's running around town, not taking care of his kids, not being responsible in his own life, and you decide to procreate with him, when you don't get any money, when he doesn't want to take care of his kids, it just is what it is.
But do that go back to what we talked about earlier about if she's used to that she's like, well,
I think it's okay for a woman to, if she decides to not depend or accept help from the father. I don't think it's right. I think when you both procreate, that's equal responsibility, and figure out however it's going to work out. I'm talking about the people who value things more than what they should value. For an example, if you have a woman who likes to go out all the time,
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? If you have a man who
you mess with Amber Rose, basically.
He said it, I didn't.
Wow.
I'm using something everybody can relate to. If you mess with her and the results are not like what you want, it's because you know. You got a Jill Scott, you got an Amber Rose. Which one would you
Black
say
China.
would marry?
Black China.
You understand what I'm saying?
But that's the thing, though. That vindictiveness, that passive aggressive or direct aggressive personality, it didn't just come about.
It didn't.
Just because the relationship ended. It was there.
It didn't.
And I will say this PSA. Women who use their children as pawns, you ain't shit. I'm sorry. You just aren't.
Agreed. A lot of them.
It's a lot of them.
Agreed.
And I think it's horrible because at the end of the day, it's the child that loses in the midst of it all. They become a casualty of war because you're angry and you're upset. Now, you may be justified in your anger, and you may be justified in being completely ticked off, by how he treated you. Has absolutely nothing to do with the child.
Yep.
And what you talked about, Dad also hurt our future. Because in the future, that child will have resentment towards maybe his mother. And also might look at his father like, you didn't hold me down, because he don't know what's up with his father.
Exactly. And he doesn't really know what's being said,
No.
I made it a point not to say anything negative about my ex in front of my children. I never have. I never will. Because that's not their fight.
Nope.
Has nothing to do with them. And having a father in their lives is one of the most important things to me. So I'm never going to do anything directly to affect that. Not at all.
So we talked about people, are they actually getting married? And it's 50-50. More in Atlanta. Journey being a divorcee. Is that the correct terminology?
It works.
It works. Oh, see, I like this. Dating. How's that journey?
No pun intended.
It is the muse for plenty of poetry.
Oh, okay. Anything you would like to share?
It's exhausting. It can be exhausting, mentally. Just going out and having to deal with what you're going to be approached with. Like and it's not like you're not as you're hopeful, you're positive, you're very optimistic. When you put on your makeup and your dress and everything and go out, I've gone out. I've done the plenty of fish thing, whatever, never again. I've done the online dating. I've done all of that. And at the end of the day, I've just found out that when it happens, it's just going to happen. I'm not going to necessarily go out looking for it anymore. I'm waiting for him to find me. Now, I'm not in that mindset of, I'm looking for my Boaz. Because I know my ass is not it. So I'm not looking for that per se. I'm just looking for a good fit. Mentally, emotionally. I'm looking for common interests for us to build. And unfortunately, there aren't a lot of men in the Atlanta area who are cultured in that way. Because the thing about it, if I cannot learn from you, that means that the relationship has no possibility of growing. I need to be with someone where I feel as if, I'm learning and I'm getting something from you and you're getting something from me. And if I feel like, and if it turns out that you're not that person, then I will say this: I don't waste time. I will tell you very quickly, this is just not working for me. Gotcha. I appreciate your interest, but after a date or two,
you know it.
Yeah, you know it. I'm not wasting your money, because money and time are two things that you cannot get back once it's wasted. So right. I'm just not going to do that to y'all. I'm a big girl. I can eat. I don't need your help. I don't need anybody's help for that.
We got Milk, you mentioned hearing stories and having conversations with female friends in regards to their experiences, and also your male friends. What do you think is going on with dating in Atlanta?
A lot of my friends tell me if they get a girl number and they call them, it's like they want them to chase them down. That's a lot of my friends say.
The girls want them to chase them?
Yeah, like you call them again, and they won't answer the phone. And then they call you after you stop chasing them and like, why you not calling me? That's one of the things. I don't think it's Atlanta. I think, honestly, I believe it's everywhere.
Okay.
I do believe it's everywhere. I think we don't know how to date. I think we don't know how to have a regular conversation without thinking about sex.
That part.
I believe that, honestly, I believe a lot of people, they date and they don't even know what they want for themselves. I really believe that. I've had friends where as though they jump out of relate. Like you see this person in love with this person, you're like, oh, this gonna work. They stop. You see them in love with this person, you're like, oh, this gonna stop. And it's thinking in my mind like, you need to figure out something. There's something inside you broke. You need to fix that.
It's not love, it's lust.
Don't get me so
confused. It's lust with like.
Let me say this. With some people, what you're saying is true, but some people it seem like they love easily with everyone. You ever been around a person that seem like they fall in love like so easy?
Could that be what I was talking about before in regards to that transition period where it hurts? It's hard to, it's easy to get into something else that feels good versus to go through that transition period where you're hurting, where you have to be honest with yourself.
But it's necessary.
It is.
It's absolutely necessary. You have to, here's my thing. It takes two people to be in a relationship. Okay?
Or three.
Or
depending
on how you on your situation and what you call normal. But there's a commitment that is made by more than one person, right? So if for some reason that relationship isn't working, then you need to take some time to assess exactly what part did I play in that. When I'm meeting someone new and they start talking about their ex-wives or whatever, and I ask, and I will ask this question, I have done it plenty of times. Okay, if you could do something differently, what would you do?
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the man says nothing,
Yep.
oh, this is over.
Yep.
The conversation is over. It's dead
Absolutely.
at that point, because there's no way you can be in a relationship and be completely perfect. You're not perfect. Mm-hmm. So that means that we're all flawed. Mm-hmm. Okay? And sometimes those flaws, no matter what they are, play a serious part in the demise of our relationships. You have to address it.
Yep. I agree. I think that question needs to be asked relatively early in any relationship, because like you said, if someone can say that they can't work on anything with them, even if you're talking to a friend, what is it that you want to work on in your life? Oh, nothing. Those are red flags.
Yes.
And dealing with someone on a romantic level, if they can't see whatever faults or roles that they played in the last relationship that didn't go the right way, they're not ready.
Exactly.
They're not ready. Sheneka, note taker, I know you have some additional stuff here.
I just have some bullet points I want to touch on, and I think maybe we should have started out with this one. The concept of marriage. Like, what would make one want to get married? What are the pros and cons of being married? Because I think some people don't even see the benefit of marriage, which is why that's something they don't pursue. So I guess let's put Pasha, because she asks everybody questions, right?
I've also answered a lot of questions.
So Pasha.
Thank you.
Yes, she has.
And ask me the question.
No, I'm not Team Pasha. So Pasha, what's your concept of marriage? And in a marriage, what should be a goal, if not the goal, of being married?
So I'm going to say this. I'm going to get to the answer, hopefully. In different parts of my life, I think I went through, I can see myself getting married. Another part, I don't need to get married. Another part, I can see myself. So I don't know if marriage per se is on my list of things to do, only because I think more I'm looking for a life partner, and I don't know if that has to constitute marriage, right? It can or it cannot. It's just not the goal. The pros to me for marriage is I can get half of a 401k. My standard deduction is higher. No.
She's serious. She's serious.
Wow.
She's so serious.
Pasha, you're supposed to be helping me out here, man. You're not helping me.
Journey, I'm going through a journey, right? So on a serious note, I think marriage is important for those who deem it something that they want to do. I do not believe that marriage is a joke. I don't think that people should take it lightly. If you are I don't know if I want to do it, before you go into it or actively even approach it, you need to self-evaluate and put some stuff, write it down so you know it's real, right? And if the ultimate comparison, pros and cons, if the pros don't outweigh the cons, then leave marriage alone. Because when you meet that person who the pro is marriage, that is their goal, and you intermingle with that person, and you knew it quite wasn't, because we had a conversation about this, when you knew it quite wasn't your goal, you just tainted something that's supposed to hold value. Don't devalue anything. So for me, is marriage my goal right now? I'm just trying to get my name on a check. I'm playing.
She's not.
You ain't playing.
She's
You
not.
money.
No. So we did talk about that. So Milk, what I realized is it's not necessarily the money, it's the security.
What's that?
It's the security for me. So if I have to write down what security looks like,
it's over 45,000 a year.
What? No, it's not.
Remember we were talking?
And the joke about that is, I'm going to say it because this was an old conversation that we had. So
the old passion, right?
This is the old passion was, if you made $45,000 or less, I'm kind of scared.
No,
you ain't got it
a different way. You ain't said that.
Go ahead and say what I said, Milk.
She said if you making 45 or less, you invisible. I don't care how good of a man you are, you invisible.
Wow.
Pasha's, I have growth. And
But his 50 and your 50, that equals 100.
Journey.
And then you can build from there.
We was here, Journey. You coming over here with this Sheneka bullshit. But you know what? No, from last year to this year, I've peeled back a layer. Mm-hmm. And what I thought
Just
was...
So now you're going to... So
now
you're going to 50,000.
It's security. That's what my mother... I ain't going to talk about my mother. What I am going to say is, for me, I had a child young. We stayed together. Me and my children's father stayed together for a while. It didn't work out. I was a single parent. Am a single parent for a long time. Mm-hmm. I subconsciously chose to, I don't want to say sabotage, but I stayed away from having my children experience what I experienced when it comes to the whole step parent type mm-hmm. thing. So with that being said, I went without. I struggled. I did that. And I'm at a point in time in my life where if I want something, I got means to make it happen. So I am fearful of someone who I feel jeopardizes that. And I know that sounds funny. Mm-hmm. Security is what it is, from a financial aspect and from other aspects. Because as you said, Journey, I could do bad by myself. Mm-hmm. I don't need someone coming into my life right now expecting me to compensate where he's lacking. I know that's Milk. Don't do this. Stay with me. No, the facial expressions. We should be able to come together and build. Come together like Voltron. If your part don't match my part,
I'm about to meet somebody and he making 200,000, right? You making whatever you
I'm listening.
And then a year in, everything going perfect. Mm-hmm. He loses his job. It can happen.
It does. So yes. This was also, this is, because it's not, so the money aspect is a part of it. It's the person's ability to make decisions. So with that being said, the money's gone. Can he hustle? And I'm not saying hustle streetwise. I'm talking about
make it happen.
Make it happen.
How about everything he do? It's just.
But what if making it happen means that he is no longer able to get $200,000? Mm-hmm. He has to be with the company and work himself back up. So now he's going from 200,000 to 40.
And you know what, Journey? I would be okay with that if I know that if the roof needed to be fixed and he needed to make it happen. However, whether that was going to cut grass, whether that was going to barbecue and make some, whatever it is, that as long as he was able to make the necessary decisions in the best interest for our family and I felt secure, I'm okay with that.
How about the decision was like, baby, I got...
You about to make me cuss. It's early in the morning. I ain't said a real cuss word all day.
He said, baby, I got 500. I need you to put 500 with it so we can get this done. Stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. No. Because again, what's more desirable for me is a man to be able to make a decision, the decision-making ability for the best interest of us. I can figure out how to fix the roof. What I don't need you to do is come to the table and be like, I don't know. Because I can, even if the decision was, well, let's call. What's up? Make a damn decision. A lot of men don't know how to.
But that's part of being single, raising your children, and you get tired of always having to be the heavy, always having to be the decision maker. It's exhausting.
It is.
Yeah.
But I also feel like, from your point of view, I see your point of view, but from the male's point of view, sometimes you mess with women and they be so independent. There's times where you're trying to open a door for them and she's like, I got it. You're like, damn. I'm using that as a small example, but it's so many things you try to help women with and they feel like y'all been doing this so long that you don't even know how to accept help. You think there's a hidden agenda behind it.
Well, and I want to add to that because I do agree with you. I do agree that there are a segment of women who have difficulty transitioning out of that mode. But I also believe that there are men who think they're good decision makers and they're not. You haven't proven yourself to be a good decision maker, so I don't trust you in that role yet. You still have to go through a phase of showing me that you're capable of leading me. Right. And again, when we talk about all the issues that's going on in our community, unfortunately, I will say there is a segment of men, I'm not going to say large or what have you, but there is a segment of men who are not capable of leading.
But let me ask you this. If you shouldn't even be in a relationship. If you would have made you would have made a way so he can't tell you like, hey babe, we're gonna do this, we're gonna move this way. It shouldn't even be that far. You understand what I'm saying? It should be like, I trust you, you got my back, we're gonna make this happen together. And if you feel anyway where as though, this is how I look at it. I tell my kids this. You should feel like if something happened to you, your kid's good. I tell my sons, you should feel like this. If you mess with a woman, I should be able to have a daughter with her. If you don't want a daughter with this woman, don't have no kids with this person. I tell my daughters, like, if you get to, hey, that skin.
That was a throat trouble.
You know, sick. Only thing I'm saying is, you know, a lot of times it's on both of us.
It is.
That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's not. Absolutely. It's not you, and it's not me. It's we all make a lot of fucked up decisions, and we blame each other instead of looking fair.
So, seeing that you're the married one at the table, what's a good reason to get married, and what are some goals people should have?
Say something. Y'all
blow my mind. Go ahead.
A lot of times, men get married to make the woman happy because that's what she wants. Because that's what society pushed on her. And you ask the average man, do you want to get married? He's like, shit, I don't care. But if you talking about making your wife happy, you're going to do whatever you got to do to make her happy. But it go back to kind of what you said earlier about having a partner. If, let's say I'm not married, right? Let's say like, me and you rocking, right? If I have your back and you got my back, I'm talking about I really have your back, we ready to have a kid, we say, look, we want to have a kid together, let's have a kid. Okay. And we doing it the right way, you really don't got to get married. As long as we keep it in 100 all over, to me, marriage or girlfriend and boyfriend is just about keeping it 100 all the way. I tell a lot of my young boys, I say, yo, let me tell you this. If you can't stop cheating if you can't stop cheating for a year, don't even get married. Don't even waste your time. Just stay.
That's a good one.
No, I say that to my young boys a lot. Like they be like, I'm engaged. I'm like, yo, if you can't stop cheating, don't even put her through that. Like, it's like.
And you said can't.
If you can't,
not that
you shouldn't.
Won't.
You shouldn't.
You won't. You can't. Because
it's
like
difference.
It's all I'm saying is
decision.
like you are. It's like you. It's not like a detox. You're cleansing yourself. If you can't do that shit before you get married, don't even put her in that situation. Don't even do that. But back to your question, because I think I'm going off. I think one of the reasons to get married is one, to tradition, right? Two, if you're going to be in the house with your kids consistently, because I mean, like being in the house with your kids is like, to me, it's like one of the most important things, see your kids consistently. Because like, you know, like Journey, you know, your ex-husband. The thing is like, when you in a house with, let me give an example, like when I'm in a house with my wife, if I do something wrong, if I say something wrong, if she do something wrong, she won't say nothing. We go upstairs, she be like, hey, you was wrong. I'm like, why? Because such and such and such and such. But it's things you're not catching that he's doing wrong. It's things that he's not catching, you're doing wrong because y'all in separate houses. And I'm not saying you're not catching everything, but it's something slipping through the cracks when you're not in it. Right now, I'm here. It's something slipping through the cracks right now. But the more you in a house with the family, you're able to catch every little thing. You sitting at the table, when it's time to eat dinner, we say our grace and we together, I can look at my kids' eyes like, yo, what was your day? I mean, what happened? But it go back to what you were saying earlier. You really don't need marriage to do that. You really don't need, like, marriage to me kind of like, you really don't need it as long as y'all going to keep it 100. And you might not want to hear that, but you don't.
I disagree. I think the decision to get married is a decision that is based upon whatever culture you grew up in within your household. And if you grew up in a Christian type household, and this is what is preached. I mean, this is what's in the Holy Scripture. You know, that marriages that bond. I can't really tell you a reason why to get married, but I will tell you what I miss about not being married. Right? I miss that union, that bond, that having someone to depend on. And it's not just monetary, it's the emotional, the silence that I have now as a single person. Sometimes it's extremely loud. And I have children, but they cannot relate to me on my adult level. You know, and I wouldn't put that responsibility on them in the first place. But I can tell you that I miss having adult conversations in my home. I miss that. So I go out so I can try to participate in that back and forth, just talking about normal things, you know, like 45 or whomever, or something crazy on the news that we saw. I don't have that. But now I have a lot of male friends that I can call that fill that void, but it's nothing like having someone actually there
in the home.
Exactly.
When you say the silence is loud, break that down.
I got it.
The silence can be deafening because there's no one there. There's no one there to bounce ideas, you know, upon. I don't have anyone that I can actually, you know, be in the household and say, you know what, can you listen to this poem? You know, what do you think about this metaphor? What do you think about this stanza? You know, those types of things that you probably do and take for granted, or what maybe your art is completely separate. I don't know. But I don't have that, you know, that connection, you know, with someone of like mind.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think you need to be married to have that?
I think that for me, that marriage is necessary for me to have that.
Yeah. I really believe if you ask the average man, would you get married if you didn't have to? I'm not saying mess with a whole bunch of women. I'm talking about, like, if you didn't have to get married, would you do it? I think the average man would say, unless, like you said, based on, you know, your culture,
religion, culture.
I think most men be like, no, you get married. I'm gonna be with her for the rest of my life. But it goes back to, if you're gonna be with her for the rest of your life, why not get married?
Yep. All right, Sheneka, anything else? Because I have gonna put Journey on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. I know we've touched on a lot of information today, and I know we haven't settled on one particular takeaway, but I think everyone has presented food for thought, and hopefully the listeners and even we, as we walk away, will just reflect a little deeper about what it is that's really going on and what we can do to kind of change the course of things. Because I hate to think that not even marriage for me is more so the disconnection. So even if there isn't a high rate of marriage, we're still disconnected,
right?
On a very basic level. Men and women, particularly Black men and Black women, we're just not seeing each other. We're not relating to each other, and it's causing a lot of discourse, I think, in our community.
It is,
and we're seeing it. So that's all I have. We can turn it over to Journey.
So Journey,
Pasha.
I've been able to be at several events in which you performed. Would you bless us today?
Wow. Okay. Sure. Anything particular?
Whatever mood you're in.
Okay. So we're talking about relationships. Let's see here. This is about being in the friend zone. Even his hello is erotic poetry. Free verse. But he and I are not free to verse freely the adjectives and verbs that verbally describe our feelings, so we have no choice but to call us friendship. It's the consequences of decisions made in haste. So we waste precious time snuggled behind frigid backs and cold shoulders. Because see, facing your truth isn't always easy when it's lying next to you. Connecting with no ground wire, but we're still in the dark. The situation ain't right. The timing is offbeat, and we blame it on God's plan. when really it's our failure to understand that people come into your life for a reason. So if God created each and every season, then please explain to me how what we're feeling ain't right. You see, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. So if you're wondering where I stand on this issue, my baby, it is simple. I want us to be together. See, I'm not free to love you the way that I can until we are. And if you're having problems making that decision, well, we can write prayers or lamentations on parchment paper, sacrifice lambs to the altar, sing dirges of the struggle, but let's wade in this water and come out clean, pristine, like Saturday morning for mopping with pine sol. Baby, I smelled your scent long before you were engulfed with mine. I dined on your essence, became stronger in your presence, deserted the desserts because I wanted you to be my sweet tooth, and yet you still ask me for proof. But you tell me why. Why should I have to prove what you already know? She won't love you like I will. She will steal the girth of your heart, and I will make it grow. She will enslave you, and baby, I can be your freedom. Show me your dimensions so our galaxies intersect between meteor showers and moon dust. Let's play hopscotch with the stars and freeze tag with the sun rays. Let's slide down Saturn's ring and fall down laughing as we land on Jupiter's clouds. Come on, baby. Let's be free, fearless, imaginative children. You see, I've learned that it's not always a situation that keeps a good man and a good woman apart. It's the inability to believe that real dreams do come true.
Oh my God, that was beautiful.
Gave me chills.
No, it did.
It did. Oh, that's a great way to end the show.
No, so Journey, could you tell us any upcoming projects you have? How can we find you on social media? Tell us more. Because she's not just a spoken word artist. I know you also wrote a play. I went to your play. The one you did, I think they played it at White Linen
Oh,
a few
wow.
years
You remember
ago.
that?
I remember.
Oh,
I've been following you a
wow.
long time, man.
Wow.
You wrote
Yeah,
a
I
play.
did write a play, directed
Yes.
and produced it. It was a
Yes.
fun time.
Mhm.
So I'm an actress. I host my own show every
Mhm.
second Thursday. It's called Cheaper Than Therapy. It's an urban grind. We have a wonderful time. So the next show is going to be November the 9th. And then December is the big birthday show. So I have some heavy hitters coming through. I'm really excited. And then next April, I'm planning the second anniversary of Cheaper Than Therapy. And it's going to be amazing. So watch out. And I'm coming up with some branding things that,
Gotcha.
coming out. I
Gotcha.
haven't yet. It's a little secret. I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Journey, also give everybody your social media and how to stay up to date with what's going on with you.
I am on Instagram and Facebook as Journey Poetess. That's JOURNEE. Please follow me. I will follow you back, and stay tuned.
All right. And Milk, drop all your social media and also what you have coming up.
Website is thismilk.com. Instagram is milk _aka greatness in the flesh. Same thing on Facebook.
Okay. And you also have a book.
My first book is called Young, Arrogant, and Invincible. My second book I'm trying to put out on my birthday, which is December the 16th.
What's that?
You people I be picking with you. What I be saying?
Our birthday's the same day.
Awesome.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
I be spitting with you.
Wow.
I'm trying to put my second book out on my birthday, like I put my first book out. Mm-hmm. I have a podcast. It's called The Risk Takers. It's dropped 11/17/17, and I'll be putting my shirts and hats out officially sometime next year.
Gotcha. Yeah. 2018 seems like it's going to be big for everybody.
Yeah.
That's
all right.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. So we want to thank everybody for listening and tuning into this episode, and make sure that you come back and check us out in the future.